Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a great morning. Maybe you just woke up. Maybe you already had some work done and got some work done. We're just going to start in about 5 minutes with a yoga live stream for about 30 minutes, Hatha Yoga. A little bit of flow, maybe, depending a little bit on how things are going. Let me see. I need to... Okay. So take your time tuning in and make sure you have a yoga mat. It's easier than a rug or like a towel or something because you need a little bit of grip. It's better to have a yoga mat. If you don't have one, no worries. You can try it on something more soft, but you might slide a little bit. We're going to start in about 4 minutes with the Hatha Yoga live stream. So take your time tuning in. Welcome everyone tuning in. Make sure you got your yoga mat ready. We're going to start in a few minutes. Okay. Let me just make sure I'm comfortable. Same goes for you. Make sure you're comfortable. Make sure you can sit easy. Could be just on the floor, could be on a chair or on a cushion. Maybe you have one of these yoga blocks. You can use a book. Anything you like to make sure you are a little bit relaxed in the hips and the legs. And it helps sometimes to just lift your hips a little bit, sit on something. That way you don't feel the straining in the hip joints or in the knees. And it helps to sit straight, which is quite important if you are practicing sitting for a little bit longer. For example, if you want to learn how to meditate, it's important that you can sit up straight without too much strength or tension. And to teach yourself that you need to practice, but never just start with the hardest pose or the hardest way to sit. Start easy and build up from there. It will be fine. In about 2 minutes, we're going to start with a Hatha Yoga stream. So if you're just tuning in, welcome. Make sure you got your yoga mat. And it's, you have different kind of mats. Maybe you already noticed. There are mats they use in the gym sometimes or for other endeavors. And they're not as, you don't have as much grip on them as on a yoga mat. So if you're serious about this, make sure you buy a yoga mat. You can have very expensive one or very cheap ones, but you do have a little bit more grip. So some of the poses can be very, very difficult if you don't have that grip on a mat. But you can always, for example, if you take a step, you can make it smaller. That way you don't slide it easily. We don't want an accidental split or something, That would be, It's too early for that. Okay, we're going to wait 1 more minute for people to come in, to join us in this class. It's a 30-minute Hatha Yoga class. And we're going to take it easy, so no extremely difficult poses, no standing on our heads or stuff like that. Just basic poses, but they do warm up and wake up your body, they wake up your mind. They activate the bloodstream, sometimes they activate a lot of feelings or thoughts, and that's okay. Yoga is all about accepting what happens. So whatever comes up during the yoga, whether that's physical or mental, just try to notice it, be aware of it, and know that you don't have to do anything with it during the class. You can just let it be there, you can just let the thoughts and the feelings and the emotions and everything can just be there. And you don't have to act on them. You don't have to react. You don't have to engage. You just have to notice in yourself what's happening. Okay, let's get started. I hope you're ready. If you're not, take your time, just get ready easy. Make sure you can sit comfortably. You can close your eyes. So once you're sitting down, close your eyes, try to breathe. And know that you don't have to change anything about your breathing, okay? Just feel how the breath is going in and out, how your body is sitting down. And when you just rolled out of bed, you'll notice that it's easier to sit still for the body. It still has that relaxed, sleepy vibe for a little bit. And when you start doing things and being active, especially in the mind or with work, the body will get a little bit more restless and it will be harder to sit still. So if you already did some work for a few hours this morning, it might be more difficult for you to quiet your body and with that to quiet the mind. But don't worry. Just make sure you're comfortable. So no aching while sitting. If you have an ache somewhere, change your position. Slide your legs forward, for example, or use a chair. And just focus on the breathing. You can relax the belly. Try to relax all muscles in the belly. That way the breath is going down. You got more expansion of the lungs. And you use your lungs more fully while breathing. Maybe you feel the need to deepen the breath. So just listen to that need if you feel it. Relax the belly, breathe in more slowly. Not even much more air, but just take the breath down slowly, expand the lungs, and take the air out as slowly as well. So be very aware of the pace of your breathing. Try to let it sink all the way down. Don't force anything. It's never a good idea when you want to relax to force your breath, to take deeper inhales or make the exhales so long that you almost feel you're gonna faint. Don't do that, okay? Just deepen it a little bit, and from there you can practice. Again, everything has a start. If you're going up a ladder, you need to take the first step first, not all the way up, one by one. Try to relax your shoulders, your arms, and your hands. Give yourself permission to take these next 30 minutes just for you. There might be a lot of things going on in your life, maybe a lot of things going on in your day, and they will still be there. In 30 minutes, you can think about them, you can act on them, you can take care of it. But right now, this moment is yours. So give yourself permission to be selfish, take it, and let everything else just be there when you're done. Okay. Take one more breath here. Slowly open your eyes when you're ready. And you can always keep them closed. I'll try to guide you with my voice through the exercises. So always feel free to keep your eyes closed for as much or as long as you want. If you want, you can change your feet. You can bring the other one forward and the other one inwards. Might feels a bit differently, might be easier sometimes. Or if you feel like one leg is going to fall asleep, it's going to be dead, just switch your feet or stretch them out for a little bit. You can bring your hands on your knees. If you're sitting on a block or a cushion, you can come onto the floor. If you're sitting on a chair, if you want, you can do this exercise on a chair. There's no problem. Just let your hands rest on your knees. And we're going to wake up the back a little bit. You're going to completely hang backwards. When you breathe out, roll yourself all the way towards the back. Let your head hang. You kind of hold your knees not to fall backwards. Relax in this pose. And when you breathe in, you tilt the pelvis, so you roll forward, you open all the way, all the front, the chest. You can bring the shoulders backwards a little bit, and you can stretch out your chin. Be careful of the neck, okay? If you have some problems in your neck, just keep your head straight. Otherwise, you can open up a little bit this way. When you breathe out, come all the way back again. And when you breathe in, all the way forward. So we're making a round and a hollow back on the rhythm of the breath. So make your own pace, okay? If you feel your breathing is quite fast right now, you can make this pose, this movement faster. If that's uncomfortable, just wait. So you breathe in and out here, slowly go back, and you breathe in and out when you're all the way to a round back. Try to keep the shoulders relaxed, just make the movement. And if you want, you can make a circle. So you go towards the side when you slide into the round back, and you go towards the other side when you're going to the front. Keep the breathing the same. So when you breathe out, you make half a circle towards the back. When you breathe in, you make the other circle towards the front. Try to keep both sitting bones on the floor, so you don't fall from left to right, but you keep your center right in the middle, your balance right in the middle. If you're making a circle, you can go the other way. And of course you can choose to just come backwards and forwards. If this is the first time you're doing this, if this pose or this movement is new for you, it might be nice to just take the base, the first pose, practice that, and when you're completely comfortable with it, you go a little bit further. So you slowly bring yourself out of your comfort zone whenever you want to, or not at all. That's the good thing of yoga. You can stay in your comfort zone if you want to. Okay, try to make the movements a little bit smaller until you are in your center. So sitting up straight, all the way to the middle. Okay, then you can come onto your hands and knees. So you can roll yourself forward if you want, over your knees, over your feet, and bring yourself on your hands and knees. You can stretch out your hands a little bit further in front of you, a little bit further than straight under the shoulders, and try to spread your fingers. If you spread your fingers, you will feel that all 10 fingertips can touch the ground. Try to let your entire hand rest on the floor, so not just the wrist. You bring the weight onto your fingers. We're going into downward facing dog, and for most people, the easiest way to keep the hands is to keep the middle finger in line with the arm. So you keep your hand straight forward. Although for some people it's better to bring the hands a little bit inwards or outwards, which is fine too. You should practice that and see what fits you. Curl the toes under, and then slowly lift the knees off the floor. The hips go towards the back and towards the ceiling. And you can use this downward facing dog to warm up the legs. So you can kind of walk the dog, they call it. Keep the toes on the mat. And then you bend the knees one after the other. Bring the heels towards the floor. And that way you might feel already that you're kind of stretching the backside of your legs. Try to keep the weight away from the hands. So try to bring the hips back. And then you can slowly walk or step towards the front of your mat. Once you're there, you can just hang a little bit. If you want to come up, just slowly come up. Otherwise, you can just take a moment here. Knees a little bit bent. Keep breathing. And then roll yourself up slowly, okay? So you try to bring the navel back. Activate your muscles a little bit until you're all the way up. Oh, it's my microphone. Let's keep that over there. Okay. Once you're there, you can bring your hands on your hips. Feet a little bit wider. Just gonna roll the hips. Keep the knees a little bit bent so they can kind of roll along. Because knees can bend towards the side, but they are required to do so a little bit right here. So just keep them bent so you can make that movement. It's easier that way. We're going to do the same thing the other way, so just change direction. And we're just going to move. Very good. Okay, all the way back to the front. Okay. You can bring the hands alongside your body or on your hips, whichever feels more comfortable for you. You can bring the feet about hip width apart and make sure that you find your hip width is the same distance from these bones here. So not your ass. This, and then straight down. So all the joints are on top of each other. That way they're the strongest, okay? It's very important that you find that position for yourself. Then you always have this really strong start when you go into a pose. You have the same way, the same standing. This is Tadasana. It's kind of the basic pose. We start all other poses from while standing. So you can either bring your hands alongside your body or on your hips. Bend your knees slightly, and then we're going to make a straight forward bend halfway. So we're going to make a half lift. You can keep the arms alongside your body or on your hips. Once you're there, just keep on breathing. You can bring the arms towards the back. So activate your fingers, activate your arms. Try to release tension in your feet. So if you are holding your toes, you don't have to hold gravity. It will still be there, don't worry. It's not going anywhere, so you don't have to hold it. Relax the toes and try to bring the weight evenly, distributed evenly on your feet. So towards the front and the back. Keep the belly muscles activated, your back activated. You're doing great. Try to keep the head in line. So bring in the chin a little bit, so the neck is long. Bring your shoulders back a little bit, so don't let the upper back be round. One more breath, and when you breathe out, roll all the way down. Bend the knees, keep the head relaxed, the hands relaxed. Maybe you want to put the fingertips on the ground. If you just want to hang, you can cross your arms. That way you can still hang even if your fingers touch the ground. And from here, roll up. When you roll up, you keep your head and shoulders relaxed until you are all the way up. So your neck doesn't have to carry anything more than just the head. Okay. We're going to make a back bend. So we're going to go the other way. You can bring the hands on the hips or slightly towards the back. So the thumbs are on either side of the spine in the lower back. You can also, if you want, bring your hands on your back. Whichever feels comfortable for you. Everything is fine. Bend the knees as far as you can without the heels leaving the floor. And then bring the hips over the knees. So you tilt your pelvis. You bring up the navel. Tailbone goes down. You bring the hips forward. Then you already have a back bend. You don't have to do anything with the upper back if you don't want to. This is a fine back bend, especially for the lower back. But it's very important to keep that lower back long so you don't compress anything. It stays the same length as when you are straight up. If you want to, you can lift the chest, lift the sternum, slowly make the back bend even further. Keep the knees bent, and when you breathe in, all the way back up. Use your belly muscles when you do this, so make sure you keep your belly active, so you don't hang in the lower back. Okay, we're going to take the right leg back, so take a big step, slowly, be in control. If you want to, you can widen your step a little bit, so you can bring the hips forward. We're going into Virabhadrasana, warrior, first one. Bring the hands in front of your heart, and then slowly bend the front knee. Okay? The same rule kind of applies here when we did the back bend. Keep the lower back long, so bring the tailbone down, navel up and towards the back a little bit, so you kind of tilt the pelvis in this pose, even though the back leg is long, so it's a little bit different here. You can make maybe a tilt of 1 or 2 millimeters, but you use those muscles, and that's important. That way you stabilize your hips, your core. Keep on breathing if you want to. Bring the hands up. You can open them, spread the fingers. Try to keep the weight on both the front and the back leg. Okay, so you can distribute your body weight. Again, try to relax your toes. We're going into Warrior 3, which is a balancing pose.